From one British heavyweight to another, Anthony Joshua has a rematch early next year with Oleksandr Usyk. Can he win a rematch? And if so, how?
Well, the only way he can win, he's got to do what Deontay Wilder did. He's got to go out and throw caution to the wind. He's got to go out and use all his physical attributes. In his case, he's a bigger man. You know, Wilder was a smaller man. He's a much bigger man than Usyk. And he's got to go and impose himself. He's got to get behind his jab. He's got to throw nice, long right hands. What surprised me in that fight is how he was getting out-jabbed by Usyk on the outside. I thought Usyk would get in, get underneath and, work to the body. And I always felt if Usyk was there at the end, he'd obviously have outboxed him. But he struggled. He was struggling with him, and he certainly couldn't. The last round, it would have got another 10 seconds. He'd have been stopped. They were about to throw the towel in. And the only way he can beat him is he's actually got to go out and impose himself. So the bottom line is, can he do that? And the interesting scenario for me is, after the fight was that Usyk said, for his interpreter, that he was under instructions not to knock him out, just to box him. Now, he wobbled him early on in the fight. In the last round, he was all over the place. So maybe he might fancy this time, I can go and put it on him and then see what happens. AJ's really has to throw, I can't say caution to win, but he's got to go out and have a fight. He can't be worried about getting clipped. Some people have said he looks a little bit gun shy at the moment. Well, he can't afford to do that against this guy. He's got to go out and jump on him if he wants to win his title.
And there's been rumours of him looking for a new trainer. He's been out in the US visiting various gyms, picking up some knowledge, apparently, rather than just specifically looking for a person to go in the corner. What do you make of that? Is this one of those old ones where fighters tend to blame the trainer, or is it more that he's been with McCracken a long time, he needs to freshen up?
I've sort of given my opinion a lot of times about him. His last few fights, he's not been the fighter that he was. He definitely hasn't been. His defense is pretty much, he's not got very good defense. That fight on the night, there were so many voices in the corner. There was, I can't remember the guy's name, who was saying, great, you're doing the right thing, you're winning. I don't know what fight he was watching. He certainly weren't watching the fight I was watching, and he seemed like he's a bit of a cheerleader. And I don't like that anyway. I don't like, in that corner, there should be one person speaking, and that's the trainer. That's how it should be. It's confusing for the fighter. I don't like that. And if you got anything about you as a trainer, you're not going to stand for that. I wouldn't stand for it if I was a trainer. I'd say no. That's not going to happen. I don't know what he's going to do, but he's got to do something. He's got to shake. He needs to shake it up because the formula's not working. It didn't work against RUIZ in the first fight, and thankfully for him, in the second fight, RUIZ was a pudding. He couldn't move, could he? He's got fast hands and that, but he couldn't move, and he still clipped him in about the fourth or fifth round, and he backed off him, and he fought on his back foot, and he came through. He'd done everything he had to do, but he was fighting a guy that was pretty much immobile with the weight he was carrying. He needs to change. Can he change? Can he change? What's he now? 32 years of age. Can he change his style? Will he be able to do that? I don't know. Be interesting to see, whether he can do it. But Usyk, one thing about Usyk, if he does fight him again, he ain't going to be training in his larder. He'll be in the gym. He'll be working hard. He ain't RUIZ. He'll be working hard, and he feels he's got the key to that padlock as far as he's concerned. That can open him up. And I think if he fights like he did last time, he'll get stopped.
I just want to ask about December the 4th. You've got the Lyndon Arthur, Anthony Yarde rematch going ahead at the Copper Box. How do you see that being different from the first fight?
The first fight I thought it was a good fight, but it wasn't the fight I expected it to be. I thought it'd be more exciting, to be quite honest. It didn't, that old blue touch paper, it didn't sort of quite take off. But I think this one will. And the reason I think is, there's a lot more at stake now. There's Lyndon's number one spot with a WBO. Anthony Yarde can't afford to lose. Lyndon can't afford to lose. They're both looking for that shot at Joe Smith. And there's no love lost now between the camps. I mean, that stuff between the trainers was, I mean, I'd like to be promoting that. Pat and Tundi, that would have been a bit of a fight. I think between them, there's so much on the line now. And I think there's so much pride at stake. There's always pride at stake with fighters, but in this case, you know, one of them wants to be the top dog. One of them wants to come through. And I think we're going to see something a little bit, I think it will be really exciting, but I think it'll be short and sweet. I think these two guys are going to let their shots go, because that's the type of fight it's going to be. I don't think there'll be any feeling each other out here. I think we're going to see a war.
Is there a chance you could lobby the WBO to have it as an official final eliminator for Smith?
Well, more or less, I'm hoping it more or less will be, because of the position that Lyndon's got. Let's hope it will be. And also, the fact I've been speaking to Bob Arrow about it. I mean, Bob's really up for making a fight.
And if the winner of that fight does challenge Joe Smith for the WBO belt, where does that leave Callum Johnson in his quest for a world title?
We're going to make an announcement about Callum in the next week, which I think he'll be.
Can you give us a hint?
Yes, it'll be next week.
That's not a hint, that's a fact. All right, never mind. What about those kind of domestic light heavyweight fights that everyone's talking about? Is there any kind of focus on those, given you've already got guys in positions for world title shots now? Any thought to the likes of Buatsi or even matching Johnson with Lyndon Arthur?
That was what I wanted to meet with Herm for, to talk about those things. It didn't come to anything, did it? You know, they're fights that can still be, hopefully still be made. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, why didn't you end up meeting? What actually happened?
Nothing happened. COVID came in, and that was I don't know. It kept getting delayed. Not by me, by the way. But anyway, it's irrelevant now. Who cares? I mean, it's you know, it's a funny thing. You know, the world turns, the world changes, but you know, everything moves. In the meantime, we continue making our fights. We still made good fights between the top guys. You know, Lyndon and Anthony got it on. We did the same with Joe and with Daniel. You know, we still made big fights, and we'll continue to do so.
Now, before I let you go, there's obviously another huge fight on Saturday night outside of Birmingham between Canelo and Caleb Plant, which we briefly referred to earlier. What do you make of it? It's the biggest fight in super middleweights at the moment because it's for all the belts. How do you see it panning out? I
think it's a really good fight. As we know, it's on BT box office. How do I see it panning out? I think it's going to. I think that Plant will give him some problems. I think he'll come through it, Canelo. He's really settled down in that way. He's a very strong guy. But I think Plant is not a bad fighter. I think Canelo will come through. But I think while it lasts, it'll be fighting.
And can Canelo stop him, do you think?
I think of course he can. He's capable of doing that. He's more than capable of doing that. It'll be a tough fight.
Good stuff. Frank, always a pleasure. Really appreciate it. And hope you feel better before the show on Saturday.